Thank you very much. How are you all? Still awake? Okay. I have the distinct pleasure of coming up here to clean up. So I am the cleaning lady. Because I didn't hear you and wanted to come, but I got my time wrong. So I was 1 hour late, so forgive me. However, having heard the other previous speakers, I have an idea of where this session is going now. How much time do I have? 10 minutes? Okay, great. Well, I'll try my best to not go beyond, but I don't think so, because a lot of the topics or things that I want to talk about has been covered so well already. And before I go on, can you tell me in Virginia, where have they been exporting to? What country have you been promoting to?
Canada is typically our top export destination.
Okay.
China is currently our second highest export destination for
Okay. Did you talk about anything for the government sector? What particular country have you seen Americans going?
We don't care. Pick one.
They go to all places.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I was trying to save you time by not repeating what you've already talked about. Now, first of all, I want to say how good Dottie is. I mean, you want to know culture, Chinese culture, get her phone number, get her email, get her cell phone, her home phone number, make sure you call her. Okay? And Dottie, you talk about the different layers. You know what I'm thinking about sitting there? That is the best job creation program. You know why? There are so many people within that loop. I think America should start it. Let's start one. You and I and all this here, we can go out there and say, I know Dottie, but I'm not going to let you know who Dottie is.
Yeah.
I'm going through all of you, so finally you find Dottie, and all of us will have a job. And I think that's one thing that Guanxi, however, I think is a universal language when you translate it to the Hispanic community, the Jewish community, African American and Asian and Chinese community. But first off, let me just tell you who I am. I am, as introduced, as a recovering lawyer. I came here from Hong Kong, went to college, got my 2 law degrees, practiced law under my husband's shingle, and did some good work, sued the federal government. One case took 10 years to win, 8 years to win, 2 years to get my attorney's fees. After the 2 big checks, with 6-figure check came in from the United States Department of Treasury, I told my husband, honey, money's in the bank. I'm taking 2 years off. So I took 2 years of sabbatical. He said, what's that? I said, that means I'm going to stay home and do anything I want and not come to work. And I went to this U.S. PAC that I helped to found in 1984 when I was a freshly minted lawyer, and worked at it as a volunteer. And that was the year my executive director, a Filipino-American, Ray Torian, the great grassroots worker, was recruited by one of our members. Paid him double the salary, kept matching and said, how much notice, how much time do I have? He said, as much time as you want because we don't want to upset you. So I went into the office and began to organize his file, and I have never left. That was 10 years ago. And I am like a fish in water. I love this. I do not consider this my job. That's why when Christina called me, I broke my neck to be here. And when she called again, got her 2 voicemails today. I said, I gotta go. So here are my notes, and I had wanted to, if I appear to be a little incoherent, it's because I wanted to sit down here what has been said and try to fill in the blanks. The United States Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce Education Foundation, which celebrated its 25th anniversary last year at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel here in Washington, D.C., is the organization that helped to bring all the Pan-Asian American ethnic groups together for one single purpose. We open doors. That's one term that we coined. We make connections, which means Guanxi. And we are the single voice for equal opportunities in business for the Pan-Asian American business community in America in doing business with corporations. I'm talking about Fortune 1000 companies, the federal, state, and local government. And we all know here, with the FBA's endorsement, that the United States government is the largest buyer of products and services in the whole wide world. And also in the small and minority business community, including, I'll also large nonprofit organizations such as the AARP, who is hiding because they are not doing what they're supposed to do, under investigation by Congress. But they buy a lot. The American Red Cross, which is a $3 billion enterprise, and who by statute must buy America. Do you like it? They must buy America. You want to find entities who by statute must buy America, because then they cannot outsource the work. That's what we do. And we introduced the word guanxi some time ago because that's where I came from. I came from Hong Kong. I learned guanxi as a young little girl, came over here, learned that this is a universal phenomenon, but I thought that was quite cute. It's hard to articulate, so people pay attention and say, what do you mean? What do you say? How do you write it? Finally, that is embedded in it. And then 12 years ago, we wrote out our one-on-one business matchmaking meeting. That was our deal. But now, from the SBA to the Department of Energy to major corporations to state governments, they're all doing that. So we are very pleased that we came up, we have become, in some ways, in this business of small businesses, the thought leaders. I would say that in terms of international trade, I just saw some hands raised when the question was asked how many of you were doing importing and exporting. Those of you who did not raise your hand, I guess you were just shy, you didn't want your competitor to know, or you are dreamers. Dream on, because the world is your oyster. However, although our country has a mandate to double export in the next 4 years, because this initiative came about a year ago, right? In the next 4 years, we have the double export. It is not for everybody. You've got to do your homework and find out whether you are the candidate for international trade. It takes time, patience, and money, and dedication. There are lots of books in the bookshelf that you can read. Lots of people have written about it. Many of them are just common sense, basic principles of doing business. Wherever you go, whether it is China, the world's factory, or India, the world's back office, or Vietnam, which is coming up to compete with other countries, if they ever get their acts together. So I want here to tell you that at USPAC, every year we take a mission to Asia called the ATM. Don't you like the term? Asia Trade Mission.
Oh.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. You go there, you ring the bell, cash comes out. Because we want to sell American products and services. And in September, that's exactly what we'll be doing. We'll be going this September to Beijing again. We always have to go to Beijing because everybody wants to go to Beijing. I said, you go, I'm staying in the hotel. Because I've seen the place so many times. We're going to Xi'an, and then after that, we're going to go to Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, and then India, Hyderabad. And I will take this trip to tell you what we do, because all of the good stuff about international trade has been mentioned. We go to our trade mission, always follow our best customers, because we represent small and medium-sized companies. Although our members are from mostly $2 million to $3 billion, but $3 billion is a very, very rare entity. Most of our members are between $50 to $100 million companies. So what we have found out is that the best way to go overseas is follow your customer. If you have some way, and I will give you this classic example, you may not be there, but this is the way you go. If you have IBM as your customer, and you only have a small contract with them, follow them. If they go to India, go. Not necessarily go with them. If they have a shop, they have established operation there, be there. And then you know what they're doing, and they try to get yourself into the supply chain. It worked. So we also, as an organization, follow our best customer. Our customers are our corporate members, or our sponsors, who, in addition to being a member, also sponsor our activities, our national conferences, and our regional conferences, and our local events. So for the last 4 years, PepsiCo has been our sponsor, member, for many, many years. And they are very strong in China, India, they're now in Vietnam, they went to Russia, bought a sardine factory, making factory, so we follow them. by going with them, you know what they're looking for, and you know what? You also find out that whatever they sell to us, we sell to them too. I was just at the Indian embassy last week. I was at the Chinese embassy this week, and what I found was something that I knew but never realized. Paper. China export a lot of paper. So does the United States. That is what's international trade. But you need to go, be there to look at the market, study your customers' need, make your connections. That's true. But when you make your connections, don't think you're going to do business. Are you doing business in China? I don't think so. You're doing business in Beijing, because whatever you know in Beijing does not apply in Chongqing or Guangzhou. The connection you have in particular countries, especially in large countries such as that. And I'm only an expert in China because I grew up in Hong Kong, was born in China, never lived there, grew up in Hong Kong, educated there, gone to China 3 times before I came over here. But since I came to the United States, I've gone back to China many times. Indeed, I learned my Mandarin here. I taught myself Mandarin because I realized that I need to do that. Because look at me. You know, by the way, I have a foreign name, Susan Allen. They must hate me in China because I don't have a Chinese name. I better take my name back out when I go to China.
I'm sure you have your Chinese.
I do. You know, just let you know how Chinese treat folks who are not one of them. However, they say once a Chinese, you're always a Chinese. When China was just opening its door to the West, I remember my brother would go to China to play golf. Hong Kong doesn't have big golf courses. He'd go to China to play golf. And he would say whenever he passed by a custom, these guards would look at him with these piercing eyes, and the message was, it will be my turn. That means you had enough of the capitalist society's comfort, it will be my turn. So the first time I went to China from the United States as an American, I've been American for a long time, so I had a passport with my name, Susan Allen. There's no Chinese name in it. And the immigration, throw it back at me and say, in Chinese. Write your name in Chinese. And I just instinctively complied. And later on, I hated myself. I hated the entire bus trip to the hotel. Why did you do that? Why did you listen to this Chinese little S? But this is how China treat folks in the world then. But it is changing. You know why it's changing? Because China has become so westernized. Ever since Deng Xiaoping had the open door policy, it has brought a lot of foreign direct investment. Chinese Americans have repatriated, gone back to China. They still keep their American passport. They've gone back to China and buy homes, buy properties, and do business there. And they're coming back and forth. And the newer generation, I just talked to them, and I said, what do you think about? They're saving money. The girl was saving money, boy living, so that they can get together, get married, and buy a property somewhere else and move away from home. That living with a house with a family is no longer the norm. So I can also see China changing. And China is doing business. China is still such a big enigma. It is very hard for you to understand. But it is a very good country to go to. Plenty of opportunities. Be careful. Make your connection. Establish relationship. Build trust. Exactly, don't expect instant gratification. That's not America. However, you meet some of the younger ones, they also want instant gratification in China too. So I feel that looking from the outside, it is a very mixed picture. Not as clear cut as you would see in a book. But before I move on, I want to talk about the other two countries on Earth. India is a very, very important place. China is 1.5 billion people, India is 1.3. Watch, because they have a lot of advantages. The Indians coming over here to study or to go to work on IT or telecommunication industry, became American citizens, establish a business. Most of their route to success will be coming here to work for IBM, MCI, and all these major companies, and they find that, gee, I can do exactly what I'm doing right here, except that I'll be my own boss. And they will start up their own business, become very successful, and they go back to India to help the fellow men who are still poor, illiterate, need help. And I think in China there's a trend, there are some Chinese Americans that are going back that way. But I think our American foreign policy will probably lead a closer relationship, Americans to have a closer relationship with China, with India. And for those of you who do not have the China fever, you may want to take a look at other countries as well. Vietnam is a country with a lot of talents, young folks. It is the population is not growing as old as the Chinese population. Oh, by the way, China has, because of its one-child policy, there's a shortage of women. A shortage of women. There will be one. I forget the ratio, but there will be men growing up without wife. So those of you who are looking to go to China, you are single and eligible, go up there. Where about 10, 15 years ago, the Chinese girls would come over here and find a way to study or find a man to get married so that she would have a better life here. Just ask Rupert Murdoch's wife. She chased him around the world and ended up in the jackpot. Okay, so I'm going to clean up here. I've exceeded my time. I want to respect your time. If you have any questions about any vignette that I want to come back and tell you about the success stories that our members have been able to achieve doing business in China through delegations, like what I had described to you, with companies who are in logistics, which China needs a lot, local logistics, not the the international, the UPS, the Federal Express of the world, but the local logistics. Folks who are in engineering for India. There's a whole lot of opportunities out there. India wants to sell, India wants to buy. China and India are the two countries, most populated country in the world, with an increasing number of consumer base with the money to spend. And many love American products. So be there, but do your homework, make sure that you are the right candidate. Otherwise, you'll regret it. Thank you.